Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome everyone to Ask the Experts for featured session 184, What's New and What's Next for the Microsoft Power Platform. We're going to go over some quick engagement notes and then we'll get started. Please use the chat to ask your questions. You can post anonymously or use your name. Please vote with the thumbs up button for your favorite questions so our experts know which questions to push to the top of the queue. They'll be answering both in the chat and over video, and they will also be providing resources once the session concludes so that you can learn more. We will be recording the session, so we ask that you please not record the session on your side, and we also ask that you help our moderators and not spam the chat. Lastly, we ask that you adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. Please take a moment to review the Code of Conduct now. And with that, let's meet our experts. I'll hand it over to Ryan for introductions, and you guys can go around the room.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And so what I will do is there have been a bunch of items that you guys have voted on, and so we'll just walk through the questions, and as I direct these to our SMEs can introduce themselves. And so our first and most highly voted question of the day, Jamie asks us, why should we be excited about PowerFX? What has or will change? Clay, would you like to take this?
I would. Hi, everyone. My name's Clay Wesner. I lead the Power App Studio group. So really, that's all things Maker. And yes, we're very, very excited about PowerFX. So what has and what will change? So first of all, what has changed initially is first we have officially named the expression and the formula language that we use within Power Apps today. So in the past, we've referred to it as the Power Apps expression language or the Power Apps formula language. It is now PowerFX. We've also made the decision, the commitment, and we've released this now as an open source language. So this isn't just restricted and available within Power Apps, but this definition in the language is now available open source. So other products and other platforms around the globe can use it. So the real impact there is that it's not just going to be Power Apps developers and the communities that are going to grow and use it, but it means the skills building around this language and grow, the community of support around this language are going to continue to grow as well. What will come and why you should get excited about it is really the roadmap that we've set around in bringing it to the other Power Platform products. So it's going to be our unified logic language for PVA, into Dataverse, into Power Automate as well, so that when a Power Platform developer comes to the platform, they can use that exact same language in all of the products as well. So for right now, it's really about that. We've made the commitment for the unified language. We have open sourced it. In the future, this year and beyond, it's about us expanding that language and really making it unified. We have another on-demand session. I'll post the link into the chat as soon as I stop speaking. Both myself and Ryan Cunningham delivered. It's called about roadmap for high productivity development in Power Apps. It's where we really go into the detail about how we're going to expand and use PowerFX, exactly what it is, and what these short-term items look like. For example, bringing and replacing calculated fields in Dataverse with PowerFX, bringing it into PVA to light up connector usage, bringing it into Power Automate, expanding use with AI Builder. So we get into a lot of the specifics of exactly what PowerFX means. So that's why you should be excited.
Wonderful, thank you so much, Clay. I am super excited by that. And so our next most popular question comes to us from Paul, and it is about our approvals capability. Paul's question: approvals are good, but could be better. Need the ability for approvals to send reminders without the need for coding in the flow. Are there any plans for that? Ashvini, might that be a question that you could assist us with?
Yes, I'm just unmuting. Absolutely. Approvals rock. We have been so impressed with how useful it's been and how many customers have really taken to approvals in Teams. And absolutely, this is one of the questions that comes up, which is how do I set reminders so I don't have to keep going back and looking at approvals in the application itself. We're looking at how do we recommend creation of workflows to users so you don't have to, you can easily on-ramp that as you're creating the approval to also say, how do I bake in the notification process as well? So right now, not yet in Teams. Right now, we're looking at how to ease your journey into building the flows. But this is great feedback. One of the things we're looking forward to is more feedback as customers are starting the approval process in Teams to see where should we be investing more in. So thank you for that feedback. I know there's 46 votes that came out of it. Keep the feedback coming. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ashwini, for answering Paul's question. And so it appears our next most voted question comes to us from Barb. Barb has a question for us about API calls. Her question: an API call-based pricing model appears to penalize rookie developers, leading IT to keep Power Platform development centralized. What advice can you offer? If it's okay, I think I might like to take this question. So our goal, of course, is to not penalize anyone, of course, because, gosh, even if I think about my development skills, good thing for all of you, I don't write much code. I'm sure if I did write code, I would be considered to be a rookie developer. And so, you know, when we think about kind of the API limits that we do have within the service, these limits are set to be actually very, very high. Under normal circumstances, flows that people are writing to support personal productivity and these sorts of scenarios are not going to come anywhere close to those limits. And so generally speaking, this is not something that rookie developers need to concern themselves with, or in many cases that even central IT need to be overly concerned with. Our goal with our limits is to ensure that we allow for reasonable usage of the service, and that's really about it. So Barb, I hope that I was able to answer your question. If not, please feel free to reply further. Our next question comes to us from Alex, and a great question from Alex about portals. What's next for Power Apps portals? And I'm looking to see if we have anybody from the portals team with us. I do not see anyone. Clay, might you have any insights here?
I don't have a good answer off the top of my head, but if you hold that one for a little bit, let me dig into that one and we can come back to it in just a second. I'll get a good answer for us. Okay.
Thank you so much, Clay. And sorry to put you on the spot there, man. Really appreciate you accommodating that. So let's see. Our next most voted question appears to come to us from Paul. What are the plans for incorporating better data view forms that have sorting and filtering built in for Canvas apps? Clay, I hope you don't feel that I'm picking on you, but it feels like this one's right up your alley.
No, sorry, give that one to me again. I was typing someone about the portals question.
Oh, of course, sorry. What are the plans for incorporating better data view forms that will have sorting and filtering built in for Canvas apps? So I think the question is, how can we bring more view capabilities into Canvas apps?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a great question and near and dear to our heart. So what we did do a little while back, and so hopefully people notice this, is obviously with Dataverse, we have a great capability for views built in. And we did surface this up through PowerFX and the language that we already supported. So rather than in Canvas apps having to write out complex formulas, you have the ability right now to directly bind grids, you know what I mean, to a view directly from Dataverse, and you can apply those view formulas. One of the projects that we have running internally at the moment, we refer to it, you know what I mean, as one grid. But basically what we're doing is we're going through a process where leveraging PCF, which is our Power Apps component framework, we're bringing that rich model-driven grid that we use in UCI, which is that great grid with filtering and sorting capabilities that we use at the moment. And what our plan is to bring that across and make that available on Canvas apps at the moment. I don't have an immediate timeline for it, but what that would effectively do is give you that same rich sorting and filtering capability that we have on model, make it available just as you would have it on model on Canvas as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Clay. Great answer there. Let me sort by our most like. I've been trying to publish questions as quickly as they come through so that everyone can vote upon them. Reza asks us a great question about API calls in analytics, both a per user report as well as a tenant level report. I don't see that we have Julie with us right now. I think she may be having some connectivity issues. So I'll try to answer this on her behalf. Our reports around API call usage on a per user basis, those are coming imminently. In fact, I think in some places we have this available today through our admin experiences, but I think we have some finishing touches still pending there. And so API call recording on a per user basis is coming very, very soon. So Reza, hope we were able to answer your question there. Let's see, our next question comes to us from Ben. And this question, what can you tell us about the increased capacity? Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. This comes to us from Anonymous. What can you tell us about the increased capacity for Dataverse for Teams and how it will impact large enterprise customers? So one of the announcements that we made is, of course, for Dataverse for Teams, you receive an environment based on the number of users in your tenant, and that number of environments scales based on that number of users, okay? Historically, this used to be capped at 500, and we have increased this to 10,000. So a pretty dramatic increase in the maximum number of Dataverse for Teams environments that you can have. And our hope is that this will allow more of our customers to be able to adopt Dataverse for Teams, because some of the feedback that we received from you was that 500 Dataverse for Teams environments simply was not enough for you. And so hopefully now that we have a much higher limit for you, you'll be able to provision many more Dataverse for Teams environments to meet your needs. So hopefully was able to answer that question. Let's see, a question from Morris, and this would be a question for Ashwini. Will Power Automate Desktop be supported on Mac OS at some point?
That's a great question. So I didn't introduce myself. I'm Ashwini. I'm a program manager on the Power Automate team, and I work on the RPA efforts. That's a great question. We have, so far, we're only focused on Windows and making sure that's a great experience. We haven't yet had many asks from customers for the Mac. Once in a while, it does come up. But so far, most of the asks we've had is either run natively on Windows or run offload in the cloud. So that's what we're focused on now. But please keep the feedback coming. If Mac is something useful and important, thanks for that feedback. Make sure you keep voting that up so we take that into a planning process.
Thank you so much, Ashwini. And we have one more question around Power Automate as well from Gabriel. When will Open API Specification v3 be supported? Power Automate currently only supports v2, which is quite old. People have been asking for a little while.
Yes, that is a great question. And I see the ideas link, which has 54 votes on it. I am, as Clay was mentioning before, I am finding out the answer to this right now as we speak. As soon as the answer comes in, I'll give that back to you, Ryan.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And let's see, maybe a bit of a logistical question. Michael is asking us, he had a weird audio issue when we started about Power Automate Desktop earlier. Yes, we're so sorry about that. We had some issues with the audio streaming. I think the wrong cut of the audio ended up being broadcast. So I do believe we have a link to the YouTube video that covers the Power Automate Desktop segment. I'm hoping that perhaps let's see, Sharon, might you be able to paste that in the chat so that we can respond to Michael and get everybody that link, please? And then let's see. Oh boy, Power Automate Desktop is popular, Ashdini. I'm sure that's exactly what you're hoping for. We have a question from Adi. Power Automate Desktop for Windows 10. Will it be available in all Windows 10 versions? What will the limitations be?
Yeah, great. So we're excited for any Power Platform question. I'm excited for any Power Platform question, whether it's Power Automate Desktop or not. For this one in specific, Power Automate Desktop, yes, if you're a Windows 10 customer using Home or above, so Home, Pro, Enterprise, etc., it is available today for you to use and download directly. Whether you can use it using your Microsoft account, or you can use your organizational ID account to be able to use a Power Automate Desktop. You don't need to have a trial or a paid license there. I think that was the question.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's see, Anonymous is asking us, and Clay, I believe this is a good question for you. When will there be an extension available for PowerFX for Visual Studio or VS Code?
Yeah, that's absolutely part of the plan. So to cap in, because I saw this question as I was just going through a second ago, people ask, can I export a Canvas app and look at it in VS Code or source control? We recently released a source code extension that basically gives you the ability to convert and export your Canvas apps, which have traditionally been only a very visual representation of an app, into a YAML and source code format. So now if you want to do full source control, you can move those over into GitHub, look at those in full version control, use your commits, and use them in a more traditional or pro dev sort of development flow. What is on our roadmap then is to look at VS Code and Visual Studio add-ins so that you can then jump in and still do development in VS Code and get things like IntelliSense with PowerFX. So right now we're doing the conversion of a Canvas app into, you can look at it in VS Code in the YAML format. We don't have the add-in that gives you the IntelliSense yet, but it is definitely on our plans to give you those add-ins. So keep an eye out for those.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Clay. And so I see a question that has come in from Daniel. Daniel, I hope you're doing well. Daniel, by the way, has an amazing set of blogs as well as YouTube videos on using different parts of the Power Platform. And Daniel asks if we could share a little bit more about our VNet connectivity-based capabilities. And so I think I will field that question. And so what we are aiming to do with the VNet connectivity here is the way that, like today, if you wanted to connect to a data source that was in a VNet, you would need to provision a virtual machine that was in that VNet. You would need to install a gateway on that VNet. And then once that was done, you could communicate with Power Platform related assets that lived in that VNet. However, one of the pieces of feedback that we heard from customers was that you'd rather not deal with that complexity. And so the work that we are doing will allow you to, within a particular environment, if you have the appropriate permissions, connect that environment to a VNet that you have running in Azure. Now, if that VNet is, for example, running over ExpressRoute or what have you, those things simply just work, because what we are doing is we are spinning up a virtualized gateway that you don't have to see or deal with or whatever else, and we are placing it in the VNet that you have told us to do so. Now, you can manage who has access to join things to your VNets in Azure, so maintain the same security and compliance that you have today for your Azure resources, but once again, allowing you to simply and easily connect Power Apps and Power Automate and other Power Platform assets to resources that live within your VNets, but in a very simple way to do so. So hopefully I was able to answer your question. Let me refresh my view to see which questions have come through. Let's see. Terrence asks us a great question. Coming from a developer background, what approach will Power Apps have to build solutions that can be deployed through different environments, such as from dev to QA to staging and prod environments? Are there source control strategies? And so let's see, Clay, might this be something that you would be willing to answer?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the best options that we've got, and there's definitely some sessions on it this week. We've talked about it a lot, but leveraging the dev pipelines with GitHub and Azure DevOps that we've got available now are definitely the best paths. So the solution framework that we have on the platform, which allows you to package your tables, your apps, your flows, your bots, basically all of those artifacts that you've built up within a solution into, one single package. You can then use, Azure DevOps, GitHub's, your usual release pipelines to move that then from dev to test to staging to prod, in a traditional fashion. So we've got some great platform guidance papers. We can grab the link and drop that into the chat for you as well. These are really the best guidelines to follow. There's also a new, it's been recently on the Power Apps blog. If you go to powerapps.com and go to a blog, there's an ALM starter kit, which our CAT team, our PowerCat team, have recently released, and it's an app instead of flows that help you get started on configuring these pipelines and tooling on the platform. So ultimately, you can get up started quicker, and then it gives you a set of apps and reports to get visibility across those environments and tracking as well. So yep, there's a set of tools to help you work with GitHub and Azure DevOps, and then there's also a framework and guidance that we release on top of that as well to help you get started.
Thank you so much, Clay. And maybe even to build upon that, Chris asks us a question. What about application lifecycle management for Dataverse for Teams? Any info would be awesome. And I'm more than happy to respond to this. We are in the process of right now bringing lightweight or simplified application lifecycle management capabilities to Dataverse for Teams, because we realize that people want to be able to move their applications between environments, even if those applications are some of the lighter weight apps that we see people building using Dataverse for Teams. So it's something that we're actively working on and hope to be able to bring to you soon. So let's see, scrolling, getting more questions. Sorry, you guys are asking so many questions. It can be a little tricky sometimes to sort and find the next item. Let's see, we have another great question from Daniel. Can you elaborate a little bit on the customer managed keys capability? When and where can this be used? Julie, I don't know if you're able to hear me or not. Would you like to answer Daniel's question?
I am now. I have not been so far. I could see faces move. So yes, I can take that one. So for customer managed keys is essentially your ability to, today we manage all the keys for encrypting data, and with customer managed key, we essentially will give you the ability to have that capability yourself. Today it's possible through a support ticket, but that is something we will be lighting up for customers so you can serve yourself. So that's kind of the short version of that one. Nice to be here though.
Yes, thank you so much, Julie. I'm so glad you're able to battle the internet gods to be able to join us today.
I saw there was another question about tenant-wide reports. I don't know if you already answered that.
Oh, go for it, Julie.
Or if you pinged it out and I wasn't answering. I saw there was a question somewhere in the list about tenant-wide reports and whether, I think both in terms of timing, but also whether that would support Dataverse for Teams. And very specifically, we will be lighting up tenant-wide reports later this month, in a few weeks. And we will start out of the gate supporting Power Apps and Power Automate specifically. in the fullness of time, to steal a term from somebody else on the team, we will be looking at adding more and more of the components to it. So you will be able to filter by environment type over time as well, but not in this first release. But we know the demand is there, so we'll be working on it.
Thank you so much, Julie. From Anonymous, we have a great question about virtual agents. So I'd like to provide this question to Omar. Omar, can you provide details on future voice chat capabilities for Power Virtual Agents, such as the ability to call a Power Virtual Agent over the phone?
Yes, so this capability is in our roadmap. We are working with Dynamics 365 omni-channel and to basically enable callers on the telephone to be able to interact with PVA-powered IVR systems. So it's on the roadmap, and it is a capability that we are aware of that many people want. So
wonderful. Thank you so much, Omar. And so Catherine asks us a great question that I would like to direct to Julie. Julie, Catherine asks us, will the COE be merged into the Power Platform Admin Center?
That's a great question, and that we have for sure had before. And I think my default answer has always been yes, over time we will. I will nuance it a little bit. I actually think the tenant-wide reports that we are releasing now is actually a result of productizing what you previously could only do with the starter kit, essentially taking all the telemetry across your different environments and light it up. So that's one example of that. And we always say, yes, we listen to the feedback and we look at the usage in the starter kit and we want to productize it. But as we evolve the starter kit, there's actually many capabilities that doesn't even fit in the admin center. So I learned to be careful how I address that. For example, the ability to go and register your app. So you built this app catalog that actually lives in the maker experiences. So the capabilities that make sense in the admin center and that we can build there, we are definitely looking at the most usage and feedback to productize. So if you have specific asks and wishes, please feel free to add it here or add it on the forums, and we do go and listen to that. But tenant-wide reports is a direct result of very vocal and loud and frequent feedback from customers on the COE.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Julie. And I've tried to approve a few more questions for us to answer. I believe we have 3 minutes left. And I apologize. I think my audio may have started having issues. So
you're okay. You're okay. We still got you.
Okay, wonderful. So let me go to, let's see. Oh, here's a great question from Anonymous for Ashvini. Does the Power Automate for desktop include RPA? And so maybe kind of the question is, what is the difference between what we're providing with Windows users now compared to kind of what's in the full RPA version?
Yeah, absolutely. So with RPA, and I'll just paste a link in the chat itself, just to give you detailed comparison of what's available for free and what's paid for. Really, the simplest way to think about what's available for free is if you want to automate for yourself on your machine, your applications, that is free with Power Automate Desktop. If you want to share, collaborate, you want to get centralized management, reporting, unattended, integration with cloud flows, all that would be what you pay for. And really where you draw the line of RPA depends on where you define what RPA is. So you could say all automation I'm doing on my desktop, doing UI automations is RPA, and that is absolutely available for free. So more information is available in the link that I just pasted, and I'm happy to take questions offline as well. And I think we're right at time as well, so I'll hand it back to you, Ryan.
Thank you so much, sir. And so what's next? Please see, we have a wide variety of activities that you can take, learning, connecting, exploring, and attending Especially want to call out, we have our Microsoft Business Applications launch event scheduled for April. Please join us there. I want to thank you all for joining us today. I know we weren't able to get to all of your questions. We tried really, really hard to answer as many as we could. I hope you found the last half hour informative, so thank you so much for your time.